Hi, thank you for inviting me, even though the government of the country in which that event is happening has closed its doors to us. It's fine, we're kind of used to that. My name is Cristina. I was born in Havana in a working class neighborhood. My house was located at the corner of two streets with the most intriguing names: Reform and Commitment, kind of hinting at what my life was going to be about. I studied journalism here in Havana and then I did a master's in London. I went through college to get my bachelor degree in journalism without paying a penny, and I have never seen a gunfire in my life. I am a member of the Cuban Union of Journalists, and I am also a mom of a talkative 2-year-old baby. The name of this panel leaves room for so many stories. The cost of the US interventions in my country is impossible to cover in 5 minutes. I'll try to give you a glimpse using a few examples from my own life. My entry into activism was as a demonstrator in front of the US diplomatic headquarters here in Havana. It was 1999 and a 5-year-old boy was taken by his mother across the Florida Straits to get to Miami. They all died except the boy, who survived miraculously and got to Miami and to family that did not even know him and used him as an opportunity for self-promotion, political traction, and money. They refused to return him to his father, who was anxiously demanding his return. The Cuban leader, Fidel Castro, foresaw that the only way to get the boy back was by a massive and visible rejection of his kidnapping. A kidnapping, by the way, behind which stood a very well-funded Cuban-American lobby. I demonstrated for days, for weeks. After a long battle, until finally then President Bill Clinton himself said that the boy belonged to his father and the FBI had to break into the house and get him. He's today a healthy, happy father of a newborn. I was in my early teens and an experience pushed me to a point where I had to take part. I had to get involved, and it was for the right cause. My life has been marked by austerity and resilience, as that of the majority of Cubans, because of the many obstacles the US sanctions have imposed. This country is under the most comprehensive and extensive system of sanctions ever imposed by the most powerful country of the world. The resilience of the Cuban people should be studied by experts because it's exceptional. When the presidents of the United States and Cuba announced their rapprochement December 17, 2014, it was history in the making. At that time, I covered Cuba-US relations, and I spent those months watching a clear change in strategy, but not of purpose. Regime change in Cuba, not allowing this country to be fully independent, not accepting our chosen path of social justice. Those are stones stuck in the craw of every American president since 1959. But Barack Obama was brave enough to not use Florida as an excuse and to open up a different strategy consistent with US national interests. Still, the sanctions were left intact, and unexplained health incidents that have been seen all over the world, including the US, were used as an excuse to close down consular services and so close the doors of the US to Cubans. Donald Trump took to the relations between the two countries to its worst point probably in 30 years. And Joe Biden has left everything as it was without having the courage to craft his own strategy on Cuba. Two final examples. In the middle of the pandemic, the only medical oxygen plant in Cuba broke down. People died in hospitals because of the lack of oxygen. During those same days, Washington refused to sell ventilators to Cuba, using COVID-19 as the perfect ally to promote such desperation that some people turned on their own government. Again, the resilience of these people created another epic story invisible to the mainstream international media. Cuba created 3 safe vaccines and has immunized more than 80% of its population with homegrown vaccines. Search around. You will not find another such crazy success story. And one final example. This one is not easy for me. My best friend had a baby 3 years ago. She's a bright and curious toddler, but she needs a liver transplant, which is something can be done in Cuba though it is thought of as a first world surgery. The only obstacle is a small number of surgical supplies and drugs that are almost impossible to get because of the sanctions. And that brings us back to the embargo or blockade. Designed to promote regime change, an embargo, they say, is directed against the government, but makes harder, if not impossible, for a 3-year-old toddler to get a liver transplant that can save her life. One last idea. Cuba has many domestic challenges. We must grow into accepting more criticism. We need a press model more adjusted to our young audiences. We must think beyond the besieged square perspective. They say the purpose is to see this country becoming a democracy, but in this context, it means subordination to Washington's interests. I do believe in freedom, in democracy, the real thing, and in improving many things in my own country. Seeing it thrive is a dream that inspires me and makes me endure many sacrifices. They say we're terrorists, they put us on the list, they say we're anti-democratic, but they don't let us go there to the United States to speak up. They say we only accept one way of thinking, but then they adopt and sponsor opposition in Cuba, making it a very well-paid job. One final idea, and this is the message. All of you can become ambassadors of the truth of Cuba. And this is what we want to say. Let us live and figure out the solution to our own problems. Thank you again for this opportunity and for the bravery of standing against injustice. I'm sure we will see each other sometime soon. Thank you.